Say something for the podcast. Tell the people what you feel.
I'm just jazzed about being on the show, man.
You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk.
What is going on? This is The Objective Jerk, and I'm said jerk. How are you guys doing out there? How are all my jerkonians? Jerkonians, that works. Hope everybody's well. Hope everyone is not getting too caught up in the BS that has been dominating the country, America, parts of the world, entertainment, government, everything. Just it's the paradigm is shifting. So just take comfort in knowing that it is starting to go back to normal. As long as nothing evil happens, Trump should win, and then that's it. You know, the crazies, they tried, they made a good attempt, but in the end they failed. You know, I guess you got to give them some credit for trying, right? But the retardation that has been plaguing the world for the last 5 years, I guess a little longer, but it's been mainstream in the last, since Biden's been president, it's been like mainstream. But before that, it was, you know, I don't know. So yeah. I don't know. I actually don't really have a topic to talk about. I just I don't know. I felt like saying what I just said pretty much, but that only took 2 minutes. So I got to come up with, 18 minutes more of BS, I guess. I've been messaging on Messenger with, I call him a friend, but I have not seen this guy since 2004. He was an Iraqi interpreter that we were attached to, and he was an awesome interpreter. He really, we had interpreters that sold us out, that they were, God, what was it called? I can't remember the term now, but the guy was out there pacing, trying to get the distances to where we were living at to give to people. So when they were mortaring us, because we used to get mortared all the time. So then when they mortared us, they could hit us, right? So we had interpreters like that. But for the most part, I think most of the interpreters, were trying to help. They knew that, we shouldn't have been in Iraq in the first place, Like I said, I remember thinking, once I joined the army because of 9/11. Not completely, but it did really kind of push me over the edge. I was always kind of thinking about it. But I remember thinking, like, when we were going to Iraq, I was like, what? Why are we going to Iraq? And I was thinking, well, maybe I guess the terrorists are there. Maybe that's where they're hiding. And then they're trying to say the weapons of mass destruction were never there. But we were fighting terrorists, but I think us going to Iraq we brought them there. They're like, oh, there's Americans in Iraq. Let's go there and try and kill some. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But anyway, so I had some good, awesome Iraqi people, actually. There was this guy. I'm not going to say his name. Not that I don't think it matters really, but and then I had another guy that was an interpreter at an Iraqi police station that we worked at, and he looked and dressed. He looked like he was an American with a tan. You know what I mean? He's an older guy. He looked like some retired guy that you would see like in Florida. And he taught me a lot of the words. So like I used to actually speak. I spoke better Arabic than I do Ilocano or Filipino. because, I mean, there's not a whole lot to do when you're in another country in the military during wartime, but I mean, except for, doing what you're supposed to do. But so, all my free time was either reading books or, I wrote down certain words like, stop, show me your hands, let me see your hands, get down, things like that. So he told me how to pronounce it, and I wrote it in my book, and I practiced, and I got pretty good with it. Every time we had guns on people or whatever, I'd be yelling, and it, they would comply, and it was great. So anyway, so that guy was an awesome old guy. He's probably not around anymore. And then I remember one Iraqi police officer. He was pretty funny, really outgoing. I think he was a good guy. Hope he's doing well. I have no idea. But anyway, so there's this guy that was an interpreter, awesome interpreter. He was able to come over to the States afterward. And I don't know his entire history. I think about having him on my podcast. I want to have guests, but I go back and forth with it. But if I do, I would really like to have him. So if you're listening to this, dude, let me know. We'll make it happen. I know he's right now he's in a standstill with his life, basically. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's, but anyway, so he comes over to the States. At some point in time, he gets married. At some point in time, he gets his license to drive trucks, semi-trucks. So he's a trucker. Truckers make the country go around. I'm sorry, I keep getting messages. I got to check them. But they do, without trucks bringing your food and all that stuff. And, that's what makes the world. That's what makes the country run. Without truckers, dude, there would be no America, And, so that's what he did. And, or that's what he's doing more recently and making a good living. He injured his hand. I don't know how exactly because we were just messaging. I didn't talk to him. And he got like a botched surgery. So his one hand he can't really use it well. So therefore he can't drive. So therefore he lost his job. So he's stuck waiting to get his hand fixed. But because of Obamacare and all the BS, it takes forever. And I always said I understood people, citizens, American citizens, they need help with their medical. They need assistance, and I get that. But the Obamacare was just like any other liberal policy. They didn't think it through, and it was a failure. I remember before Obamacare, I could get an appointment. I was paying, as a family, it's like I was paying like $400 a month or whatever for good health care for me and my family. If I needed an appointment, I would go. If I needed to go to urgent care, I could go and whatever. Once Obamacare started, the urgent care was always filled with people with, I got a stomach, people that could never go to the doctor, afford it before, were now going to urgent care for the dumbest things. Oh, I got a sliver in my finger. Can you pull it out? You know what I mean? It was like, this is ridiculous, It's like, God, I paid, like I said, a lot of money for medical, and I didn't go to the hospital unless it was really needed. But now, so that in turns, so you have all these people making appointments, and now it takes forever for the normal person, I don't want to say normal, but the average person like myself to get an appointment. It's like if you want to have free healthcare and do whatever, you need to create a whole separate entity that's just for the free healthcare and whatever. So that's where they go. So then the people that pay are still getting the service that they're supposed to get, and it's not interrupted by all this BS. And then the people can get, you know what I'm saying? That's how they need to do it, or should have done it. But anyway, so he's stuck waiting to get his hand fixed, and it takes forever. I spoke with my mom, and all she did was complain about stuff and she's a big, I wouldn't say she's a big liberal. She's definitely has TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome. She hates Trump. But the things that she's complaining about, it's like, it's all liberal policies, democratic policies in the democratic state that you live. Not democratic. Yeah, Democrat. But I didn't say nothing, But it's true. It's just... So I felt bad for... my friend, and I was like, dude, come here to the Philippines. If you got money, you can go to the hospital, get fixed quick. It's not it's great. It's just like in the States, The thing is like, if you don't have money, you don't get treated as well, which is kind of unfair. People do get treated, but money talks, and I remember when I came to visit here, I don't know if I talked about this or not. I probably did, but it's on an episode that's no longer available. So when I first came to visit the Philippines, I was riding on a motorcycle, which I can ride a motorcycle. I'm just not like, I'm not the most experienced person on a motorcycle, but I know how. I can do it. But this motorcycle that I was trying to ride, he had his clutch. No, not his clutch. He had his gears set up a little different. And I think he did have his clutch adjusted to really take off really fast, for like racing. So I was riding it with my son on the back, and it was like I was having problems. First, I think I was like, because I went all the way down to first gear, but it wasn't really first gear or something. He wasn't there to kind of help me figure it out. So it was just like every time I would start to go, it would die. And it was like, what the crap? So I had to really what? I had to really give it some gas and let off the clutch. And it started really fast. And when I got to a turn, it was like the same thing. And it was like, I overshot the road. And as I was trying to correct it, it's like I'd pull the clutch so it would stop. And then I would get back on the road. And then as I let off again, it just went too fast. It was just, he did something to it. And I was not prepared or trained or experienced to handle it. And so, we bit it. It wasn't bad. My son didn't get hurt. I got a little scraped up, and I had to get some stitches on my elbow. So when we went to the hospital, and it was like, they see me, a foreigner, and they just basically, oh, get out of the way, Filipinos. Here's a foreigner. He's got money. And I was seen, and I got my stitches, and everything was like quick. While there was this Filipino with her kids sitting there waiting. I don't know. I just felt kind of bad. It was just kind of, it was kind of surreal. I don't know. But it only cost like $20 or $40. That's how much it cost me to go to the hospital, to get stitches, and get some, what do you call it? The antibacterial medicine so you don't get infections. I never can think of the name of it. But so I was trying to, get my Iraqi friend to come here, or try and be like, hey dude, sell it, But he's already there, he's situated, he's got like 2 months before his surgery. So hopefully it all works out. But yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know. Trump, he needs to be back in office so bad. Even people that are liberal, it's like, so you have the far right, which I'll admit they're crazy people on the far right. And then you have the right. And of course they're all for Trump. And then you have the middle, which they've over the last 4 years have slowly kind of been like, yeah, Biden sucks. We need to get Trump back. And now you're starting to have some pretty far left, not the extreme left, not the the crazy people that are running everything right now, not the loonies, but pretty far left people are like secretly like, yeah, we need Trump back. This is horrible. This ain't working. And but I've said it before, like I am scared about something happening to Trump.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for listening to The Objective Jerk. I greatly appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, comment on wherever you're finding this, and you can also email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. So hope you're enjoying it, and please continue on with the episode.
Like either before he's elected, like I don't think they can cheat like they did before. I think they cheated. I mean, there's proof that there was people's ballot stuffing and everything. That did it make a difference? It's hard to really say. It could have. I don't know. But if there's evidence of that happening, then it happened. You know what I mean? Just because they only caught in these 2 states or whatever doesn't mean it didn't happen in other ways. Everybody talked about how those machines could be hacked. You know, it's insane. But anyway, so I'm thinking they can't cheat the same way they did, and they really don't want Trump to be in office because he's just going to flush them all down the toilet. So I think, you know, he's either going to get assassinated. It's going to be the first president in, you know, since, or an assassination attempt since Reagan, and that, or he's just going to mysteriously die of some kind of heart disease or something. He's going to get poisoned, or, you know what I mean? Something's going to happen. I'm worried. You know what's funny though is if you notice how much a person that becomes president and is in their president, how much they age from the beginning of their presidency till the end. So if a president runs for 4 years, he ages, you can tell, you can see it. Clinton, Obama, Bush wasn't as bad, I don't think. W. Bush, Nixon, he aged a lot, but you know, he had 8 years. But so when they do the 2 terms, man, you see it big time. Obama, he had a full head of black hair. By the end of it, it was full white, and he just looked like he didn't look too good. And I mean, the clone that is Biden, I don't know. I don't think it's the original Biden that was a senator. I don't know. Who knows? It's either that or he had just a buttload of plastic surgery. But the only president that didn't age, granted it was only 4 years, but still presidents age in the 4, it was Trump. Like, he didn't age at all, man. Because he has been fighting people, making deals, doing stressful things and whatever since he was like in his 20s, doing real estate deals and doing whatever. So the presidency is like nothing for him, you know what I mean? And look at it, he's not even president, and he's still fighting and getting crap like he is president. You know what I mean? It's like he's still secretly the president in a way. It's insane. And I just think it's kind of funny, and it just kind of shows that, see, there's just certain people I think that are natural leaders. Trump is a natural leader. Okay? He's born to be a leader. And that's just the way it is, you know? And a lot of times, people that are the best leaders are kind of assholes. Look at Patton. Look at, what's his nuts? I will be back. MacArthur, you know? They're all kind of arrogant assholes. And that's just, you know, because sometimes you got to make hard decisions. You got to make hard decisions. And that's why you kind of need to have that kind of president. You know what I mean? That was one of the reasons I voted for him. That and the fact that he wasn't a politician or isn't a politician. I mean, he is now, I guess. I hit a key on my keyboard and it stopped recording. So I was blabbing for not too long, but I noticed that it wasn't recording. Anyway. So Trump, he's like the only president that did not become more wealthy during his presidency. Every president walks out of their presidency with a higher net worth than they were when they went in. It's just, look it up. It's fact. So that's one of the reasons I voted for him. I can't remember if I already said this just now, but him not being a politician, him already being wealthy, and him being like a hard ass were the reasons I voted for him. A president needs to make hard decisions, tough decisions. I mean, look at Obama. He had the most UAV airstrikes than any president, killed a lot of civilians. And I think that weighed on him, and that's why he aged as much. One of the reasons he aged as much as he did, because he just, he was good. Obama was, he was very eloquent. He was very charismatic, but that's kind of about it, though. I think he's the same thing that Biden is, but he was just a better puppet. And so, you got to have a president that is willing to make those tough decisions. You got to have a president that's kind of an asshole, an arrogant asshole. I talked about it before. I don't know if it's on one of my episodes that's available, but I had a platoon sergeant that came in because our platoon sergeant we had the first time I was in Iraq. Wait, was it the first time? Yeah, it was the first time. And a platoon sergeant, he came in and covered down on our platoon to be our platoon sergeant. This was for like the last 2 months of our deployment. But I remember when we first got to Iraq was in the green zone, and we were in this palace area, and we had commandeered a nice palace house building for our company, which we ended up moving not long after. But we were there for maybe a week or something. And the bathroom was just, if any of you know, the shitter is just 50-gallon drums cut in half, the piece of wood put on it with a hole, and you shit on it. And then somebody ends up getting the shit detail, burning it, which I've done before, which sucked. If you've seen Jarhead, there you go. Or even Platoon, they kind of show it too. But anyway, I remember sitting in this bathroom. There's 2 toilets. I was sitting on one, and all of a sudden, Sergeant, I think his name was Davis. Sergeant Davis comes in and sits. There's no partition. There's no nothing. So you're sitting there shitting right next to somebody, and at this point in time, I'm like a PFC, private first class or something. And he's a platoon sergeant with a reputation, and he's kind of, boisterous and whatever. And we talked a little bit, but it wasn't much. But it was one of the most uncomfortable situations I had. And, a year later, he ends up becoming our platoon sergeant. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to suck. But it in fact was awesome. He took no shit. They tried to give our platoon shit details. He was like, no, fuck that. We ain't doing that. We'll do this. We'll do that. Like, it was the best. I was like, dude, he is awesome. He was great. I mean, part of it, I think, was because he was going to retire. So he was like, fuck it. But, I had heard that he was, he watched out for his own, you know what I mean? And that's how I see Trump. That's why I like Trump. So anyway, that's it. My time is up. Hope you all learned something, enjoyed it, whatever. I don't know. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
You just put yourself through another episode of The Objective Jerk. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Please email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, comment, wherever you find this, follow. It all helps. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.